Hey, everybody. I hope you're doing great. So, I'm dedicating some time here to go visit Iryna. She was the Ukrainian refugee that died in the train in Charlotte from the brutal stabbing here from DeCarlos Brown. So, I took some time to watch the raw footage here. Megan Kelly had presented that, and I witnessed it. I took it in. And here I am. I navigate energy. I navigate energy patterns and exchanges between souls. I look at things from the energy world, which is a little bit different than how we see things in the human world. Because the human world says, hey, if we've got a rabid dog here, well, we don't want to make friends with rabid dogs. We don't want to do, here this rabid dog, let's release it back on society and then hope it doesn't hurt anybody else. So we're talking about DeCarlos here, is carrying an illness of some kind, the type of illness that brings you to murder some innocent person sitting in a seat with a knife. Just stab them and go. So I've already taken a look at this to a degree. And one of the things that I saw is, Iryna, we have yet another messenger, okay? Charlie Kirk recently died. Charlie Kirk is a profound messenger. That's an obvious one. He was a messenger in human life, and now he's a messenger in this death event. But he's also still doing his work in the spirit realm. That's what my experience was as I was navigating that. And then I shared that here on YouTube. And now I'm looking at Iryna, and she has this incredible angelic light about her. Incredible. I went in and looked at the energies around this, and I saw that DeCarlos Brown represents one who was like a child in a whiteout space that was shrouded in shadow. And he's crying for help. And the only way that he can express his cry for help is to kill people. Are we listening? We are now. Iryna came in and she is a messenger. So on the human level, we don't want to hear that. I wouldn't want to hear if that was my child, that my child was a messenger for humanity, a good messenger at that. And it would be very hard for me to accept, wow, my child's an angelic force that came in to go through this experience and to try to make it a better society. And I wouldn't want to hear that. I wouldn't want to digest that. But that's some of the realities that I come across when I look at exchanges like this, and what that looks like in the energy side of things. And then what is the deeper message that's being presented here is going to sound different than how our human minds are going to evaluate things. So in the energy world, Iryna, when you die through a murder, traumatic event, it's a little bit shaky between, I just living my human life, just hanging out on a train. What in the world just happened? Now you're in a different dimension. You're not in your body. You're not on the train. You're not doing it. It's jarring. I come across this with extreme death events, but not all the time. Sometimes it's surprising what a high vantage point some of these souls reach very quickly after an extreme death event. But here I saw her just kind of stuck in a flash, like stuck in a flash of light and dark and light and dark. As she was trying to come back to what her true essence, what her true emanation really is like. And as soon as I saw her in there, it didn't take long for her to just suddenly say, oh, and she just started to become so full-blown, full of light. It was all-encompassing. It was so beautiful. It was incredible, okay? Now, DeCarlos, there's something about what he carries. So within each and every one of us, we have inner demons, right? And some of those inner demons are influential from other exchanges that we've had with, let's say, parents or relatives, or maybe it's just genetic in the bloodline, but we're passing down extreme vulnerabilities, weaknesses. We have to become brave, strong souls to conquer this stuff, to become the virtuous people of society, right? But some of us fall into those weaknesses and become consumed by it. We become monsters of society. So that's why it's very important here that we're taking a look at society and saying, we need to care about the victims. Iryna needs to be the last one. Now we have Charlie Kirk. You're kidding me. This has got to come to a screeching halt. Well, how does it come to a halt? We need to care about these victims. Yes, we do. We also need to care about creating a society that strengthens us. We don't need more of these lost souls or those that are weak to their inner demons that become the very monsters of society, where their idea of crying out for help is to kill somebody. So society needs to improve, right? So we need to make changes, but it has to be authentic and not superficial. It has to be the raw truth. It has to come from a place of ground so that we can build upon that ground something better from here, right? So that's just a little bit of what I wanted to talk about, some of my experience exploring this already. And I wanted to take some time with all of you to just revisit the energies and see what wants to present itself. If there was anything else to see, Iryna was extremely bright, and her light was facing this monster that DeCarlos, there was something attached to him that was just like a morbid looking fetus attached to a much bigger demonic figure that was, it basically represented a father, but this father wasn't a leader. It wasn't a virtuous leader, you could say. This father was manipulated in a way that it couldn't correct its own lack, its own weaknesses, but it's a big problem, okay? This was a big solid stone. This is a big problem, and a very big influential problem at that. And so this demon then through DeCarlo, excuse me, is trying to reach through into humanity to taint its exchanges with the next person, the next person, the next person, the next person, because in some way the demon too wants to heal itself. So it this is where it gets a little bit hard for me to find the language to describe some of these things. That I think it's easier to just talk about it in the journey than try to define it, because even for me, I didn't know how to wrap my head around it because I wasn't finished yet. I didn't complete this whole journey. Iryna was extending her light to heal this demon and to bring this demon back to God. And that all demons are the resurrection of all the shadow, the resurrection of all lost souls, the resurrection of all back to God in order to start a new story, you could say. But was that her role in this, or she was just a very angelic light, a very incredible angelic light that, again, the message of forgiveness comes forward here, but it really wasn't about forgiveness. It was just recalling herself, being the messenger that she is, and then presenting that light as an opportunity, extending this support to what became a monstrosity, an infection or a disease within society that she too is trying to heal through her life, through her death, through the spirit realm, through her essence, through her style. That's what I came across. All right. I said it as best as I can say it. I'm going to close my eyes now and re-enter this space where Iryna, I saw her full of light. I saw her create a doorway within her own light. I saw her guiding this pain and suffering, this unresolved, this lost soul energies, broken energy, demonic energies, broken energy. It's influential, it's manipulative. And to bring that energy back through, to bring that energy into a higher plane. I'm not allowed to go into that space right now where I had left off in my own world when I was just exploring this. I'm on this train and I see another version of Iryna here sitting on the seat, but it doesn't look like her, because when I look at her eyes, I notice her eyes are kind of like bullets, like made out of metal, but it's cold, and it represents what I could describe as bullets. There's something huge about this. I'm really gonna have to pay attention. Is I'm looking in every direction in here, and I'm listening to all the sounds in here, and I'm smelling this place. And there's something not well lurking around in here, and it's not easy to detect it. It's not easy to see it. And I'm not going to see it by looking at her presence sitting on the seat. And yeah, she looks like a corpse with metal like bullets for eyes, angrily staring at me. It's not her true essence. It's not even her. It's something else. It's something else that's wearing a costume. What I do is I touch the material of this train, just a floor. And I actually pull the entire train into my heart and everything within it. And as soon as I do that, I notice I'm in a big fat white worm. I put this worm inside my heart and I'm in a huge, almost, it looks like a living body. Like I'm on the level of cells in the blood, but it's just a huge open space with moving liquids. And I notice there's this a really angry being here, that I'm literally inside of this angry being. But this being can look inside of itself and find me. And I ask what it's up to. Like, what's your plans? And this is like a raging influence that's moving through society. That is, it's like an out of control wriggle worm. It wants to influence as many weak minds or weak souls as it can to do extremely corrupt things as quickly as it can. It wants to uproot the goodness in the world, and it wants to take all the good out of it. It wants to prune the tree of goodness. Like when I woke up this morning, I saw there was this representation of a tree. Like here we have the apples, and Charlie Kirk here, its time was complete. So the apple fell from the tree. Here it's on the ground, and once it's absorbed into the ground, it nurtures the tree and brings forth new apples. And it's really just the cycle of the soul, right? So the soul returns to the tree of its own origin. It's like God, source, you could say. And then from there, we have new life. New life grows, and it goes through its cycle, and then it falls back to the ground, and then it goes in the cycle, okay? And when I woke up this morning, I was revisiting that imagery. It just came to me. But I was this force, like this laughing type. They're always laughing. Those demons are always laughing. And I was picking up this apple of Charlie Kirk, and I was eating it, and I was very proud of myself. There was the sensation. So the sensation of this consciousness is proud of itself to be pruning this tree of the good apples, of all the good apples. Let's prune this tree of all the good apples and feed them back to God. And it's like the tree can only regenerate good apples so quickly. It just wants to prune this tree. And I see that these messengers, though, seem to be aware, but it's also a great challenge for them, too, to understand what their dynamic, their true soul dynamic is, and they're very powerful souls. Iryna is a very powerful soul. I know she just looked like an innocent girl sitting on the bus. She's a very powerful soul with an incredible light, and she's become a profound messenger. Charlie Kirk has become a profound messenger. He always was one. Like, he already was a messenger. Now he's even more of a messenger, and he's doing good works. But this is an event. This is an event that's going through society right now. And what this is doing, it's having me reflect on, are these messages reaching certain types of people who are vulnerable to picking up the gun or the knife and murdering yet another one of these good souls? And was it the demon that won in the end? Or was it the profound angelic messages that are coming through that we've got to do better in society? So which one is the one that wins here in this messed up situation? Who's winning? Is it evil that's winning, or is it good that's winning? Because I see that there is an influence here that is really taking a look, is looking for weak souls, is looking to influence, is looking to create catastrophe. So I just stopped time for a minute, because there's something interesting about these types, kind of proud of their existence. They're proud of their influence. They're proud of their opportunity, their time to shine. I'm just stopping time for a moment because I need to listen. I'm asking the universe, what can I do to help? I actually told myself this morning that I should do a video about that tree. Seemed important. And then I found myself exploring this and saying, you know what, I need to go visit Iryna and make sure she's okay and see what is the message in all of this. And then I come across this information, which I'm sharing with all of you. What can I do to help? Because I can change patterns, You can change patterns too. So what I mean by that is, let's say you have an achy back. So the pattern is you have an achy back. So you just live with it, right? So did you do anything to change the pattern? No, you just lived with the pattern. You could say, I've got an achy back. I always have an achy back. I need to do something different. I'm going to start doing yoga, or I'm going to go to the chiropractor. I'm going to go to the masseuse. And now you're correcting your achy back. You're making things better. You're healing that event, and you're working with a new pattern. Okay. So I can heal patterns in the energy world too. So this is just an achy back. An achy back that thinks that it's influential, it's powerful, and it's going to create a lot of ruckus here. It's going to prune this apple tree, and then all the good apples are going to fall to rot. And it's almost like it hates God. It's like an influence that hates God and loves disrupting, like the authentic, the innocent, the virtuous. It laughs and it loves creating great harm and destruction. So, and sending that energy back to God, and exploring how it's almost like God's broken heart wants to create a broken heart within God, which tells me that its heart was broken. And that one time it was a good apple. It becomes very angry when I start telling this story about the good apple. And I instantly just give it a hug. And I remind it again and again about the good apple and how loved, how very loved. And that difficulty happens to all souls, and how we work through it is our choice. To let all of this go. You have the power to let it all go and to change the pattern within yourself. It comes back to this man who stabbed Iryna. But then I say, no, it comes back to you. I'm noticing something is definitely changing here. What's changing is for the better. I see a massive amount of salt water flushing across the United States primarily. And the salt water is to clean the wounds. There's a lot of cleaning of wounds here. It's an opportunity to clean up. To make it a cleaner world, a cleaner community, a cleaner country. And I see this salt water too as for this one that wants to prune the apple tree. And it doesn't really have a choice because I'm within its own body right now. I just become the very salt water that we witness together. Whether it likes it or not, the salt water is here. The salt water is to clean, not to create more pain. It's kind of like you have a wound with an infection, and, well, you got to do what you got to do to get rid of that infection. Let's say you just pour alcohol on it. Well, that's not very fun. Let's say we have to get some real surgery here. Well, that's not very fun. But the only way to get it right is you have to go through some of these windows of pain and suffering in order for things to heal properly. And I see that this one doesn't want to go through the pain and suffering to heal properly because it decided that it went through enough pain and suffering and nothing ever heals. And the only one that needs to know what pain and suffering feels like is God. So I show this one that, is its broken heart its own, or is it God's broken heart towards it? And that we already knew what it was up to. It wasn't outsmarting any of us. This soul, this influence, this demon, wasn't outsmarting any of us. We already knew. We already prepared for it. We already decided that we were going to accept our fate. You didn't realize it was just you. This whole time, it was all just you. And the more that I share the frequency of this message, the more this one seems to be, get trapped into a tree itself. That this tree is quite strong and benevolent, and seems to be a spirit tree. space for this one to reconcile its own divine reflection, which has become a part of the rot. And I see as it is pulled into this super gorgeous tree, that this tree nurtures it like a mother and father, very loving. And it's in the heart of this tree, and it's screaming and crying and begging and hating, and until it becomes so exhausted, it just falls asleep. And I see it falls asleep for a very, very, very long time. Now I'm to return to this train where I saw Iryna in this reflection with the bullet eyes. And I'm in the dream of this sleeper now in the tree. And this thing is so mad and so angry. And it basically threatens to kill every single person on the planet. It will make sure that every human being is destroyed. And I reminded that it's just asleep, and that it's cleaning itself out, it's just venting its pain, and none of this stuff is true. All it's doing is destroying itself, but really it's healing, and it needs a long time to heal. I hug it, and I thank it for being a part of the story, even if it's a difficult one for us to swallow. This is an influence, okay? So this would be an influence where we have these bad people, right, have killed good people. Okay, so what influences them to make these decisions? Their weaknesses, their perspective, where their soul is at. This is a spirit realm we're living in. It looks like the human world, but we're in the spirit realm and the human world. This is an interdimensional space. And so it's all energy. So we're inhaling and exhaling extraordinary energetic exchange. And there's those souls that are super strong and those souls that are vulnerable, because we're all going through a learning phase. And some of us are really good at this. We've been there, done that many times. We carry a lot of strengths in our build, okay? But there's those that just don't have the experience or don't have the development of oneself. And we're all mixed together working on an extraordinary classroom of lessons, whether we like it or not. Because our human perspective on things is there's a right way and there's a wrong way, and the wrong way should just be eradicated. But then why does the wrong way keep going? And why is that our reality? Well, if you look at it through the lens of the spirit realm, you're going to see it differently, and you're going to appreciate the way things are. And you're learning virtue. You're learning patience. You're learning forgiveness. You're learning what peace means. You're learning what love is. You're learning about grief and loss. You're learning about financial despair or aging or whatever. You're learning about all this stuff that you're going to be in conflict with yourself, with your soul. And you're going to be doing it through the lens of a human ego, which is going to challenge you to be listening to your heart and your soul. And all this is going to pile in on you. And how are you going to deal with it? What decisions are you going to make? That's what that video was about that I'd posted before. Charlie Kirk was talking about the patterns. And we don't know how much time we have left here. But one of the messages is that you could say God created the perfect veil. And that veil is that we don't get heaven until we die, but we already have access to heaven. It's already inside us. And so somehow, some way in our world, our wants are truly just translatable to we want heaven. So I want to win the lottery, or I want that big, beautiful house, or I want that perfect soulmate, or it really translates to I want to be home in heaven again. And so what are we willing to do to get what we want through a human lens? What are we willing to do? Are we willing to sell our soul? Are we willing to do whatever it takes? Are we willing to destroy people in order to get what we want? And what is it that we truly want? And why do we want that? But deep down inside, our soul just wants the wholeness. Our soul just wants the peace. It wants to feel the presence of God again. It just wants that. And so we're influenced by wants through the ego, all right, through the human experience, through a shallow mind, you could say, with this incredible soul, and we're challenged here. And so we can be highly influenced by energy, because energy is, everything is energy, okay? So let's say you have the presence of a manipulative spirit, and you're already a very weak soul. So it's just a radio station. You're just tuning into the very radio station you're playing for yourself and welcoming in all of the other songs on that radio station to interact with you. And then you're channeling that information into our world. And was it your decision? Yes, it was, because you were the one that chose that radio station to choose that storyline, that experience. And that is the gift that you're sharing with the world. And so you give us the gift, then, let's say, of tyranny, but really you're giving us the gift of strengthening our souls, and giving us an opportunity to ask, is this the type of world we want to create for each other? And how do we conquer this? How do we make it a better world for everyone? Truly, genuinely. Because it is a bit of a course life. I mean, it takes time for us to learn lessons. It takes time for us to grow. We're going to fall off the bike and skin our knee. Like, there's going to be discomfort. But the more that we build a good world upon what is like a practical, solid foundation, and a foundation with love and patience and virtue, there's something good that comes from this. There always is. So, anything else I need to do here? So I was on that train, talking to that reflection that really wasn't Iryna. This worm that is in the heart of the tree that's actually just venting out its own madness within the tree in order to alter this pattern's influence. Because I just want to calm this energy down. We don't need anybody else pruning this tree of good apples, you could say. Pruning the tree of any apples, really. We just need to calm this energy down. Be grateful for these messengers and what they're giving up to get this message through to us. Anyway, that's what I've got to say. Sorry, I'm a little delirious as I'm coming back to myself and wondering, in between being a human person talking and then being in a journey state and then trying to relay information, it gets a little disorienting. Thank you for listening. I hope you found value in this message here, and I wish you a wonderful day.